Did you know that last year, seniors lost over $1 billion to online scams? Many of them through just one simple mistake, clicking the wrong email. It's not because they weren't smart. It's not because they weren't paying attention. It's because scammers are getting better. And today, I'll help you get even smarter. In this video, you'll learn the most common email traps targeting seniors right now and how to protect yourself, your money, and your peace of mind. They don't always knock loudly. Sometimes, danger arrives quietly, tucked inside a simple subject line that looks like it came from your bank, your doctor, or even your grandchildren. And all it takes is one click. Not because you were careless, but because you were trying to be responsible. To help. To protect. That's the kind of world we're living in now. A world where criminals don't need to break into your home, they just need you to open an email. Let me tell you about Bernice. She's 81, still sharp as a tack, and not the kind of woman who falls for nonsense. Raised 5 kids. Worked part-time well into her 70s. Still sends birthday cards, the paper kind, to every one of her 11 grandchildren. A few weeks ago, Bernice got an email that said one of her Amazon packages couldn't be delivered. She clicked the link. It looked just like Amazon, same logo, same colors, even the little smiley arrow. It asked her to confirm her shipping address and log into her account. She typed in her email and password. Then her screen froze. By that afternoon, someone had used her information to place over $700 worth of fraudulent orders, electronics, gift cards, even a tablet she never asked for. Now here's the thing, Bernice didn't do anything wrong. She did what any of us might have done. The page looked real. The tone felt urgent. And she didn't want to miss a delivery. That's how these schemes work. They're built on urgency and trust. If you've ever felt that small jolt in your chest when a message says, "Your account has been locked," or "A payment failed," you're not alone. These scams are designed to stir up emotion, to get you to act before you think. That's exactly why we need to slow down together and talk about how to spot them. You see, there are a few patterns that show up again and again. The first one is what we call the look-alike email. It's the wolf in grandma's nightgown, dressed up like your bank, your pharmacy, or your favorite store. These emails usually say something like, "We noticed suspicious activity on your account." Or, "A charge was declined, please verify." Or, "You're owed a refund, click here to claim it." But here's how you know something's off: the sender's address doesn't match the real company. These emails might say Amazon-receipts@delivery-check.com or support@bank-alerts.org. It sounds official, but it's not. And then there's the link. If you hover your mouse over the button, don't click, just hover, you'll often see a strange web address pop up in the lower corner of your screen. Something long, jumbled, and clearly not right. That's a major red flag. It's like receiving a letter in the mail where the return address is misspelled and the envelope smells funny. Your instincts know before your mind catches up. Still, these scammers are getting smarter. They'll copy real logos. They'll use your name. Sometimes, they even use part of your real account info, just enough to make it seem legit. Let me introduce you to Alan. He's 76 and lives in a quiet town near the coast. One morning, he received an email from what looked like his bank, account alert, action required. Inside, it asked him to confirm a recent purchase he hadn't made. He clicked through, logged in, and entered a few security questions. But something didn't feel right, so he called his local branch. Turns out, there had been no alert. No suspicious purchase. But because Alan acted quickly, and called, the bank froze his account before any damage was done. The point here isn't just to scare you. It's to show that awareness works. A few seconds of caution can make all the difference. If you found any part of this helpful so far, do me a small favor, go ahead and click that like button. Not because it helps me, but because it tells YouTube that you value this kind of practical advice. And if you want more ways to stay safe and confident in this digital world, don't forget to subscribe. New tips are always just around the corner. Now, let's go deeper. Because scammers don't always pretend to be businesses. Sometimes, they pretend to be people. People you care about. That's where the next danger comes in, something called the grandparent scam email, and it's more common than you might think. It usually begins with something heart-stopping. Grandma, I need help. I'm in trouble. Sometimes it's an email. Sometimes a text. In a few cases, even a voice recording. But the message is always urgent, and it's always crafted to push you into panic before you can pause and think. This is the grandparent scam email, and it's one of the cruelest tricks out there. Let me tell you about Thelma. She's 84 and still sends handwritten letters every Christmas. One afternoon she received a message that appeared to be from her youngest grandson, Daniel. The subject line read, "Please don't tell Mom, I'm in trouble." Inside, the message said he'd been in a car accident while traveling overseas. He needed money for bail and a quick wire transfer to fix things quietly. The language was panicked. Emotional. And it ended with, "Please don't tell anyone. I'm scared." Now, Thelma didn't hesitate. She wired $2,500 within the hour. You've probably guessed what happened next. There was no accident. Daniel was safe at home, never left the country. The entire email had been written by a scammer pretending to be him. They had found his name from social media, copied bits of his writing style, and created a false crisis that played perfectly on a grandmother's instinct to protect. This kind of scam works not because it's clever, but because it tugs at the heart. And let's be honest, when it comes to our families, our thinking brains often take a back seat to emotion. But you can protect yourself. Here's what to remember if you get an email like that: pause and verify. Pick up the phone. Call the person directly, or someone who knows them well. If it's a true emergency, someone will answer. But if it's a scam, you'll often find the number doesn't match, or the story falls apart the moment you ask a few simple questions. Scammers hate verification. They want secrecy. They want you to move fast and alone. So anytime an email asks you to keep it a secret, treat that as a siren, not a whisper. Now let's shift gears a little. Another rising trick is the "you've won" scam. You might see subject lines like, "Congratulations, you've won a $500 gift card." Or, "You've been selected to receive a Medicare reimbursement." Or, "Your refund is waiting, claim it now." All they ask is that you click a link, confirm your address, or, and this one is key, pay a small fee to release your prize. Sometimes it's $1.95, or $4.95. Not much. But the second you enter your credit card number, you're handing over the keys. These scams are dangerous because they play on curiosity and reward. They make you feel chosen, lucky, even special. But real refunds? Real prizes? They don't require you to pay to receive them. So here's a simple rule: if you didn't enter, you didn't win. Let me share what happened to Glenn, a 73-year-old Navy veteran who still volunteers at his local food bank. One day he received an email from a popular supermarket chain, congratulating him on winning free groceries for a year. The email had real photos, and even listed the name of a real local store. Glenn was thrilled. He clicked the link, filled out his contact information, and paid a processing fee of $2.50. That tiny charge opened the door to dozens of unauthorized transactions on his card over the next week. Thankfully, Glenn's bank caught it and refunded him, but the experience left him shaken. Now, some of you might be wondering, why are they targeting seniors? And the honest answer is, because you're worth targeting. You're more likely to have savings. You're less likely to report scams out of embarrassment. And you grew up in a time when letters were real, banks were personal, and people didn't lie to your face for no reason. They see that decency. And they try to exploit it. But here's what they don't count on: you getting wiser. That's what this video is about. Not shame, not blame, but power. You have the right to feel safe online. You have the right to ask questions. And you have the power to protect your information with one of the most important tools there is: pause. Pause before you click. Pause before you share. Pause before you trust. And if you're still with me right now, that tells me something: you care. You care about your privacy, your security, your peace of mind. So take a second and leave a comment below. Let me know if you've ever spotted one of these fake emails before, or if you're unsure how to recognize them. Your comment might help someone else reading this right now. Also, if this is your kind of content, simple, practical, no fluff, make sure you're subscribed. I've got more coming soon on how to manage passwords, protect your identity, and avoid phone scams too. And now, let's dig even deeper, because not every threat comes from outside. Sometimes, the biggest risk comes from old habits we didn't even know were risky. Let's talk about forwarding chain emails, clicking unsubscribe on shady newsletters, and the innocent things we do online that quietly put us at risk. It's not always the bold attacks that cause the most damage. Sometimes, it's the little things, habits we picked up along the way, tiny digital decisions that seem harmless but open the door wide without us even realizing it. Take chain emails, for example. They usually come from a friend, or a friend of a friend. A nice quote. A joke. A political opinion. A touching story that ends with, "Forward this to 10 people you care about." And so you do. But here's the quiet danger. Every time that message gets forwarded, a new string of email addresses is attached to it. Yours. Your friends. Their friends. Before long, that message, and your contact list, has passed through dozens of inboxes, some of which may not be as secure as yours. Scammers love this. It's how they build massive lists of real, working email addresses that they can later target with fake offers, malware, or phishing traps. Imagine someone knocking on every door in your neighborhood, not to say hello, but to take notes on who lives where, and when they're most likely to answer. That's what these chains do for digital crooks. So next time one lands in your inbox, enjoy the sentiment, but maybe skip the "forward to everyone you know" part. Now, let's talk about something even sneakier: the unsubscribe trap. It sounds safe, right? You get a spammy email about a product you never signed up for, and at the bottom, it says, "Click here to unsubscribe." You think, perfect, let me stop this nonsense once and for all. But here's what they don't tell you: clicking that link tells the sender you exist. It confirms that your email is active, monitored, and receptive. And instead of removing you from a list, they'll often add you to more, because now they know there's a real person on the other end. So what do you do instead? Mark it as spam. Every major email provider, Gmail, Outlook, Yahoo, has a button for that. When you mark something as spam, your provider learns from it and gets better at blocking similar messages in the future. Let's bring in a real-life example again. Rita is 79. She's practical, cautious, and loves crossword puzzles. She prides herself on keeping her inbox tidy. One day she received an email offering her a free trial of a brain-boosting supplement. She wasn't interested, so she clicked unsubscribe. 3 days later, she started receiving dozens of similar emails, different senders, same type of content. It was overwhelming. She eventually had to change her email address altogether. So remember, when in doubt, mark it as spam, don't engage. Now, here's another everyday risk that doesn't get talked about enough: reusing the same password across multiple accounts. Let's say you use your favorite password for your email. It's something memorable, maybe your dog's name and a birth year. You use that same password for your Facebook, your grocery rewards, even your bank. It feels easier to manage, and frankly, you have better things to do than remember 10 different passwords. But here's the issue: if one of those websites gets hacked, not your fault, just bad luck, then suddenly, someone has the key to all your doors. They'll try that password across dozens of sites, looking for a match. And once they find one, they're in. This is how accounts get drained, not through brute force, but through repetition. So what's the solution that doesn't require a genius memory? A password manager. These are simple tools, many are free, that store your passwords in a secure vault. You only need to remember one strong master password, and the manager handles the rest. Or, at the very least, start rotating passwords. Even if you keep a written list tucked safely at home, you're already doing better than 80% of users. Let me share one more story, about Clarence. He's 83 and lives on a quiet cul-de-sac where everybody waves. He loves ordering jigsaw puzzles online. But last year, one of those puzzle sites was hacked. Clarence had used the same password there as he did for his email. Within 2 weeks, his email account had been hijacked. Scammers used it to send fake requests to his friends asking for money. And for a while, Clarence didn't even know it was happening. His daughter finally noticed when she got a weird message from him asking for a wire transfer. The embarrassment Clarence felt wasn't because he fell for a scam, it was because his friends thought he was asking them for money. That's how personal this can get. Digital safety isn't just about protecting your wallet. It's about protecting your relationships, your reputation, and your peace of mind. And that brings us to something else most people never mention: your digital footprint. Every time you click a link, sign up for a newsletter, or share your email on a form, you're leaving little breadcrumbs behind. And just like in those old fairy tales, not every trail leads back to safety. So here's a helpful mindset shift: treat your email like your front door. You wouldn't open your front door to just anyone who knocked, especially if they were wearing a fake name tag and said they were from the electric company, but looked a little off. So be just as discerning online. You've made it this far into the video, and I want to thank you, not just for listening, but for caring. This kind of awareness is what keeps you safe, and what helps others around you stay alert too. If you know someone, a friend, a sibling, maybe someone from church, who might not be aware of these email dangers, send them this video. One small gesture could save them from a big headache. And coming up next, we'll explore exactly what to do if you do click something suspicious. What steps to take immediately, how to report a scam, and how to recover, without panic, without shame, and without losing sleep. So what happens if the worst does occur? What if you clicked the wrong link, shared a bit too much, or realized, too late, that something just wasn't right? Take a breath. You're not alone. And you are not helpless. Let's walk through exactly what to do next, calmly, clearly, and step by step. First, don't panic. The internet moves fast, but not every mistake becomes a disaster. The most important thing you can do is act, not freeze. Let's say you clicked a suspicious link and entered personal information. Your name. Maybe your login details. Maybe even some banking information. Here's what to do, starting with your email account, which is often the gateway to everything else. Go to your email settings and change your password immediately. Make it different from the one you were using before. Add a number or a symbol. Make it long. You'd be surprised how much damage you can stop just by changing that one key. Next, if you use the same password on any other sites, your Facebook, your pharmacy, your streaming service, change those too. One by one. Start with anything tied to your money or identity. Then, if you gave away banking details, call your bank. Right away. Don't be embarrassed, they deal with this all the time. Banks have fraud departments trained to freeze cards, reverse charges, and monitor for suspicious activity. In fact, reporting early could be the difference between losing $10 and losing $10,000. Now what if you didn't give away banking info, but you did click a weird link and now things feel off? Maybe your screen froze. Maybe your device slowed down. Here's what to do: turn off your computer or phone. Then restart it in safe mode if possible. Many devices have this built in. You can search how for your specific model. Next, run a virus scan. If you don't have antivirus software installed, call someone you trust or take your device to a local tech shop. Many communities even have free senior tech support days. Check your library, your senior center, or even your church bulletin board. One of the most empowering things you can do is talk about what happened. Scammers want silence. Shame is their best friend. But when you speak up, to a friend, a neighbor, your adult children, you reclaim your power. You also help others spot the same scam before they fall for it. Here's a perfect example. Nancy, 77, volunteers every Wednesday at her community center. She's sharp, organized, and never thought of herself as tech-savvy. One day she received an email saying she had missed jury duty and owed a $50 fine. It looked like it came from her state government. The wording was official. The deadline sounded serious. And so, she clicked. Then something odd happened. Her screen flickered. The site froze. Her computer wouldn't respond. She unplugged it and went straight to the library, where a local tech volunteer helped her run a malware removal program. They caught it just in time. But here's the best part: that same week, she stood up during a meeting and shared what happened. She warned the entire senior group. And within days, 3 more members reported receiving the same email, but didn't click. Because Nancy spoke up, she turned one mistake into a ripple of protection. That's what community looks like. That's what wisdom in action sounds like. Now, let's take it a step further. You can actually report these scams to help prevent them from spreading. In the US, you can forward suspicious emails to reportphishing@apub.org. This is the Anti-Phishing Working Group, or to the Federal Trade Commission at reportfraud.ftc.gov. These organizations collect scam data to help warn others, shut down fake websites, and prosecute offenders when possible. One small report can protect thousands. And finally, perhaps the most overlooked tip of all: trust your gut. If something feels rushed, off, or just a little too urgent, step back. Legitimate companies don't threaten. They don't demand secrecy. And they don't mind if you verify. You've spent a lifetime developing that inner compass. Don't ignore it now. You survived decades of change, raised families, built careers, rebuilt after loss. You are not behind. You're just adapting, as you've always done. And if no one has told you this lately, it's not silly to ask questions. It's not foolish to double-check. It's smart. It's careful. It's how we stay strong. So if this video helped, if even one part gave you clarity or confidence, please leave a comment below. Let us know what part stood out. And if you're willing, share a time you did catch a scam. You could be the person who helped someone else avoid a painful mistake. And before you go, I'd love for you to subscribe if you haven't already. It's completely free, and it means you'll see future tips that could keep you and your loved ones safe online, in your home, and in your daily routines. Before we close, I want to say something important. This video was created with the help of modern technology, which means some of the narration or phrasing may not be perfect. If something sounded slightly off, we appreciate your patience. Our goal is always to serve with care, clarity, and a little human heart behind the screen. Because staying safe in today's world isn't about knowing everything, it's about learning together. And I'm glad we're doing just that.